Okay, there it is. All right, so we're gonna try this again. This is my first time ever going live on YouTube, so I ask that you bear with me. And yeah, work with me here. I'm opening it up on my computer so that I can see your comments and respond. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Oh dear. It did something weird. Okay. I am not using the YouTube program, so this is a little more complex than maybe it should be. But YouTube won't let me because I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. So I'm going to try this. It does have a 7-second delay, so hopefully that doesn't mess us up. And yeah, let's do this. Oh, one other thing. If you got a notification earlier today that I had gone live and you couldn't click on the link, I apologize for that. It was me trying to see how this works and make it make sure I was ready for it, and obviously I wasn't because I'm still having issues. So anyway, here we go, Inktober. What I'm doing in these videos, just so they don't go too long, is I am actually doing my sketch ahead of time, and so what you'll be watching is just the inking process. I'm gonna put my phone in its slot, and we'll do this. Let's see, turn that around. Maybe. Okay. Okay, how does that look on the computer? It's sideways. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to rotate my setup here, and hopefully I can make this work. Okay. Let's raise it up a little bit. So we can get the full drawing in. Sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't going to let me do landscape. Okay. That's basically the drawing there. Okay. Cool. I'm going to start off by plugging in my phone and trying not to get the cord in the way. Ah. Okay. And I hope volume is coming through all right. Because, again, this is my first time doing this. Hopefully tomorrow will go a whole lot better. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start off actually by taping all of the edges of my picture here. And what this does is it helps keep it flat when it gets wet, because ink will, well, moisture tends to curl up papers, and so if you tape it flat, it doesn't curl, and yeah, it goes a lot better. I'm sorry, I will learn how to talk and do things at the same time. We'll get there together. oops, that piece of tape isn't long enough. The other cool thing about taping it off is that it provides a neat little border once you take it off. There we go. Now I'm using masking tape. You can also use painter's tape. Painter's tape might actually come off easier. I might actually have some issues taking this off, but this is what I have at the moment. Okay. Change the format here so I can see what's going on. Oh dear, that's not what I meant to do. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. Just a little bit more. Hopefully that is good. Okay. So supplies besides tape and paper. I am using India ink here. There are a lot of different brands, and this is the brand I happen to have. And I'm using a scrap piece of paper to test my ink on. I'm using water to rinse my brush and crow quill pens. So brush, I had a brush. Oh, there it is. This is a size 1 brush. There it is. The brand is Raphael, and it was actually kind of expensive, but it has treated me really well. So I'm using that for the larger dark areas. And then I have numerous crow quill pens, and you might see me use all of them or one of them, depending on how the ink is flowing today. Sometimes the ink doesn't flow so well from some of them. I think what I need to do is actually clean them up. This one's usually my favorite nib, but it's not been working well for me recently, so we'll see. This one creates a much thicker line, and this one, on the other hand, a much thinner line. And finally, I have plain old eraser. Yes, it's almost gone. And I will use that to clean up my page once I'm done. Okay. I'm actually going to add a little bit of water to my ink because it's starting to dry up a little. I need to refill it soon. And maybe that's why I'm having flow issues. Okay. All right. Now, typically, you want to start up at the top left if you're right-handed, or top right if you're left-handed, so that you don't have the worry of your hand sliding over the wet ink and smudging it. However, I have a hard time working that way, so I'm going to start with the tree because that is my focus and that's what I want to get done first. So when I drew this out, I was going for sort of a willow type of tree. Yeah, see, ink flow issues. It worked really well on my paper, obviously. It's not going to work on the page. Ah, there we go. Okay, yeah, that's flowing nicely. I went with a willow tree and then sort of elaborated on the design and played with it a little bit. Made it a little more gnarled. I'm not going with the set Inktober challenge words. I decided to make my own because I find I have more motivation, more interest in drawing every day if I'm doing something that means something to me, that matters to me. So I am gathering my inspiration from mostly Bible verses. Maybe I'll throw in a few quotes, we'll see. That things that inspire me and I think will look good visually. So today's verse I'm going off of is Psalm 1, 1 through 3. And it says, "Blessed are those who something who do not walk in step with the wicked, or sit in the seat of, or walk in the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers, whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and he meditates on it day and night. He is like a tree that is planted by streams of living water. Everything he does prospers." And yes, that was a little bit of a summary, not word for word. But it's a pretty well-known verse, and so I think we're okay with that. Okay. Keeping my movements sort of quick and sketchy because I want to keep my tree with more of a gnarled, rough look. It provides nice bark. Okay, sorry. Making sure that my phone doesn't buzz while we're doing this. Okay. One of my favorite things about ink is just how bold it can be. The stark contrast between light and dark. Oh. Okay, there we go. Cool. I was just making sure it was showing up on my screen. Make sure I could see what you guys are seeing. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts, opinions, feel free to comment below, and I will do my best to keep an eye on the comment section and answer. Suppose I should be thinking about light and shadow while I'm doing this. I just sort of started and didn't think about that. Kind of looks like the light's going to be coming from that side. Upper left corner. On the other hand, it might just be more of an ambient sort of light. We'll see how it turns out. I think kind of the fun thing about Inktober, besides the challenge of doing it every day and having a whole community that's working on a similar sort of project, is it's a little more spontaneous than a lot of what I do. Maybe a little less detail-oriented. I like to take more time and make sure things turn out perfect. I've been accused often of being too much of a perfectionist, so this is a good challenge in more of a spontaneous, see where it goes, and if it's not perfect, that's all right. Just do it and see how it turns out. Although so far, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is going. to be fair, it's not totally spontaneous. Since I drew it ahead of time. Like I said, I'm not very good at talking and drawing at the same time. But with practice, I think I'll get better. I was also reflecting on the fact that I didn't put a sign on the door like I told my family I would, saying that I was recording. So if you hear voices or noises, it's because I forgot to put a sign up saying that I was recording. What else should I talk about? I don't know. Whether you're watching now, live, or later, once this is already recorded and uploaded, tell me what you like best about drawing, what mediums you use, and why you like using those specific mediums. I'd like to hear from you and see what your experience with art is like. Okay. And I know my subject for Inktober may not interest everybody, being that it's based on Bible verses, but it's also why I wanted to do more of an interpretive type drawing. So even if the Bible doesn't interest you in what it says, that's fine. Hopefully you can still appreciate the art for what it is, or what it will be. As we're just starting out Inktober, I'm still figuring out my list of things to draw for this month and what verses I want to choose. If you have any inputs on verses that are specifically important to you that you might want to see me do, let me know. I want this tree to kind of look like it's lived life. It's seen some things. It's growing well and strong because it's by the water, but it's lived a long life. And so it's maybe not as nice and smooth as other trees. Okay. And if you watch my hand, even though I chose not to start in a location that's more logical for not messing up your drawing, I am being careful to avoid the wet ink. It doesn't mean I always do manage to. Sometimes I get into it and forget. But I try and keep my hand up off the paper or anchored away from the inking that I've done already. Okay. I'm not sure how the leaves and stuff are gonna look when I'm done with this. Just kind of trying it and seeing it's not something that I'm necessarily comfortable or have done much of before. Okay. Now, the rest of this month, I'm actually thinking that 7:30 my time is the wrong time to do this, because I've got a couple classes that I'm taking because I can't seem to get out of student mode. And they are evening continuing education classes. And so on Mondays and Wednesdays, I am gone from 7 to 8, so 7:30 won't work for me. I'm thinking that I will go with an 8:30. 8:30? Yeah. 8:30 stream time. Oh, I just noticed. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for joining me. Can you hear me fine? Oh yeah, so thinking an 8:30 stream time. Mondays might be different though. I'll let you know. Okay, good to know you can hear me. I might try using my headphones tomorrow. Problem with those is that they, what? You can hear me breathing into the microphone, and so it's distracting and annoying. So I decided to try going without headphones today. All right, let's see. How do people do this? I'm not good at talking nonstop. And I know that Sarah's here, and so I have somebody that I'm talking to now instead of myself, but it's still weird. It feels like a monologue. Why am I so amazing? I don't know. Lots and lots and lots of practice. Lots and lots of money and time in school. So hopefully that means this tree is looking good. Hi, Dad. Or should I be more professional and call you Dave? Yes, Sarah, it is God-given talent. Without him, I wouldn't be doing this. That's for sure. Okay. Almost done with my tree here. And thankfully, none of my cats have tried to get their moment in the spotlight, as they'd end up rather black. They have a tendency of wanting to cuddle with me when I draw, because of course that's the best time. Okay. And for those of you who came in late, I think once I finish recording, you can always go back and see the beginning parts of the video and hear my fascinating commentary from then. What are you sorry about, Sarah? Being late. Oh, that's okay. Everybody has their lives and things that they're doing. I was a couple minutes late myself. Oops. So, looking at the screen, it does look like a tree. Sometimes, they tell artists to back up and see your drawing from further away when you judge it. There's a reason for that, because at the moment, being up close to it, it just looks like a bunch of scribbles to me. And then I glance over at my computer to see how it's looking, and it actually looks kind of tree-ish, which is good, because that's the goal. It's all about your perspective on things, I think. Okay. And yes, I did end up choosing a tree for my first Inktober challenge, because I love drawing trees and I draw them a lot, but also because I wanted a easier subject to begin with, something that I am very familiar with. But I did mix it up by making it a leafed tree and not a dead, scraggly thing, which is usually my preference, because they're just so interesting and dramatic looking. Okay, I have a tree. Cool. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's do the stream here. Doing an embankment, hopefully. Okay. Got some rocks here. What else do you guys want me to talk about? So the goal is to make it darker right at the grass line, so it looks like it's overhanging a little bit. Give that illusion of depth. Okay, add a few more rocks in there. And we're going to make this one a rock. Hopefully that's what it looks like. And then some swirling water from the fast-moving river. Because the verse is flowing water, and so gotta have that moving water. So the reason this nib is my favorite is because you can get the thicker lines, but you can also get those really fine points, as long as you don't have too much ink in it that will come splooching out. Splooching? Sure. Splooching out when you press on it. Okay. We'll do a hill. I'm gonna make it a little darker. So one thing in art is called atmospheric perspective, and I did talk about it in my perspective tutorial, and that is here on YouTube if you want to go back and take a look at it. Atmospheric perspective involves, well, the atmosphere. So as you look at objects further away, they end up looking less defined. They tend to be lighter because you have atmosphere between you and that object. So the closer an object is to you, the darker it will appear. So that's part of why I'm making this hill so dark. You can also imitate atmospheric perspective by thick lines versus thin lines. So I have a mountain in the background here that I'm going to sketch in real quick. Let's see. And I'm going to do that with really thin lines. Okay. Yeah, kind of looks like a grassy hill. Now, background mountain. It's just going to be suggested here. Some background grass. Texture to the land. Forgot this part of the root. Have the root going underground and popping back up again. Oh, I haven't checked my comments in a while. How did I fall in love with art? very gradually. I I've always had art in my life. My mom paints and draws, and my dad draws, and we would actually have art days where we would all as a family paint or draw or do something artistic. Um, and I never thought much of my skill back then. And then I went to college and they made me choose a major, and I didn't want to major in anything. So I decided, I like drawing. We'll try it. And then in college, I tried oils. I had tried them once at home, but um, not with any confidence. And so I didn't realize how amazing they were. And then in college, I learned oils and just fell in love with painting, and then kind of went on from there, wanting to become better and improve my ability as an artist. So there. Um, so on this one, I didn't actually use any of my smaller nibs or other ones, or even my paintbrush, because I didn't have big areas of black that I put in. I do have a little bit more to this page, but at the moment, all you see is the tree, so I'm just gonna end it there, I think. And sometimes I forget this part, and I really shouldn't, but as an artist, never forget to sign your artwork. I always like signing in the bottom right corner. Sometimes it's a little more visible than others. And then I put the date underneath. Well, not the date, the year. Because I don't like doing numbers, because round things are hard to do. Yeah, there we go. So, he is like a tree that is planted by streams of living water, or flowing water, something like that. And hopefully tomorrow, let's see, flip it around so you can see me, maybe. There we go. Hopefully tomorrow I will have this set up a little bit better. We won't have the technical issues that I had earlier. And yeah, sorry. It's really weird that there's a delay, and I'm not really sure how it's coming across to you guys. But there it is, and yeah, I hope you guys have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. 8:30.